So right now in the beginning of the video, I want to go ahead and just say if you hear any thundering going on outside, I apologize if that's going on. I can't control it. That's just something that you're gonna have to deal with if you do hear it at times. I can't control Mother Nature, but I also want to take this part in the beginning of the video before I actually cut to my opening. That this was supposed to be a part two originally. I even say that in my Boruto episode review that I'm currently uploading as I'm recording this. This was originally supposed to be a part two of a two-part, series of videos for my Kill la Kill review because what I and there's some thunder. What I originally intended for my Kill la Kill review was I wanted, because there was 24 episodes, I wanted to watch the first 12 episodes to give my thoughts at the halfway point, and then in the second half, with the next 12 episodes, I wanted to give my thoughts on the second half, and then also potentially just my full thoughts on the whole anime as a whole. After I was done finishing it, maybe I would make another video talking about it, or maybe in the same video I would just explain it. But it didn't work out like the way I wanted it to, so now we're just doing the whole anime review. And just here's the review. These are my thoughts after just finishing the last episode of the show. And let me know what your opinions of the show are down in the comments below. I'm very curious. And now on to the opening.
Now, drop that.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another new video on the channel. Today we are talking about Kill la Kill. This is my Kill la Kill review. I had originally intended to record this, or finish rather, Kill la Kill weeks ago, but some stuff came up, some stuff regarding a YouTuber. I'm not going to mention it because I'm not really wanting to talk about it anymore. Just because I originally wanted to upload this video and record it and finish Kill la Kill a while ago, weeks ago, but stuff distracted me. I got busy and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't watch Kill la Kill, and I only had a few more episodes left in order to finish it, and I just kind of stopped watching it for a little bit. Just was doing my other thing, with other stuff, and now I've since finished it. And these are my, initial thoughts on the whole show as a whole, and I've already pretty much explained myself to my friend. If you're watching this for whatever reason, you already pretty much know my thoughts and opinions about the show. But I think the show is incredibly amazing in a lot of different ways. I can't really find myself. I find myself, trying really hard to put this into words, but I really have no words for it other than it's just a fantastic show that I feel like no one should really take too seriously. Because with One Punch Man, for example, you can take the show seriously all you want, but then you would be having, less fun watching the show if you did take it too seriously. Because how can you take a show seriously about a guy who exists in a world where there are a whole bunch of monsters and creatures and other superhuman, characters, but this one singular guy, because he trained really, really hard, can defeat anyone with one punch? You can't take that seriously. You have to take it at face value and just, have fun with the over-the-top action, the amazing music, the amazing animation, and you essentially have to do the same thing for Kill la Kill. You shouldn't take it too seriously. Of course, there are moments of the show and certain episodes where you can take it very seriously because it is supposed to be very serious in those scenes. But most of the time, the characters, or rather, the show is mainly centered around the characters and their interactions with each other, and the over-the-top action whenever there's over-the-top action. And one of the best aspects of the show, in my opinion, is definitely just the way that the characters interact. One of my favorite things about this show is straight up just how, Mako and Ryuko just interact with each other. They're best friends, and they know that they're best friends, and they've acted like they're best friends since they were children, and that's very surprising because they had only, met, recently. It seems like months ago. They've only known each other for months, potentially a year even. They haven't even known each other that often, and they already, act like they've been best friends for years, and the interaction with each other is just amazing. I absolutely love it. You get the sense that the Elite Four for Satsuki have known each other for a really long time as well, and granted they probably have, because when Satsuki was looking for these, members of the Elite Four, she was looking for them ever since she was a little girl, ever since, she was, first getting into going into, middle school and such. And now she's this big leader and class president of this big school. And when you figure out the true intentions of why she rules the way that she does, it surprises you. And it certainly surprised me because they portray Satsuki as she was supposed to be the main bad guy. Like, Satsuki was the main bad guy. Ryuko, her dad was killed by Satsuki, but it turns out it wasn't Satsuki. It was actually Nui Harime. And Nui Harime actually works for the Kiryuin clan, specifically her mother. And it turns out much later on in the show, and Satsuki actually doesn't want anything to do with her mother, because her mother is all about the life fibers, and the life fibers are giving her all these powers, and the life fibers are trying to use all the humans of the world to suck up a whole bunch of energy, so that way it can take all the energy that's on the planet and it basically just do it all over again after the planet explodes. And she just wants to be a part of that, but Satsuki doesn't. Satsuki doesn't want to be a part of that, so she actually portrays her own mother. And this is one of my favorite parts of the show, because the entire time you get this premise of, oh, Satsuki's the bad guy. And then Nui Harime shows up and you're very confused about how you should feel about Satsuki, because it doesn't seem like those two have a good, relationship with each other at all. And then she ends up betraying her mother, of all people. She literally and figuratively backstabs her mother. And I was very thrown off by that. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought she was just gonna, willingly, follow along with her mother and side with her mother, but she doesn't do that. She actually figuratively and literally backstabs her mother, and it surprised me very, very much. And after she loses the fight with her mom, Ragyo Kiryuin, after she loses the fight and she ends up joining with the nudist beach guys, her whole demeanor and character just completely takes an entire turn. She was stern, she was rough, and she was kind of mean, but after she loses the fight with her mom and joins with the nudist beach, her whole character and demeanor pretty much changes. She still pretty much acts the same, because she's still, herself of who she always has been, but you can still see many characteristics about her that have changed significantly. Like how she's much more tame, she's much more calm, she's much more nicer and understanding of people in their situations. Like with Mako, like there's a moment before like the big fight at Hinoji Academy where they're eating, and all the characters that are fighting against Ragyo Kiryuin, they're all eating and just interact with each other, and she's very understanding of the situation that particular family is in, and she understands it just perfectly fine, and she doesn't say anything bad about it. And you really get the sense of what her true character is, because the whole time she has to basically hide it so that way she can get the drop on her mom, which doesn't end up working. It doesn't work at all. Her mom actually wins that fight because she's too significantly much more powerful than her, because Satsuki doesn't know how to use her Kamui. And I don't know how they did it, but somehow they managed to get me to care about, a fabric of clothing with Senketsu. Senketsu is completely sentient. He has a mind of his own. He has, his whole other, he has his own, personality and behavior. And somehow they actually got me to fucking care about it when Senketsu ended up getting burnt and destroyed at the end of the last episode. And I don't know how they did it, because I was actually very upset that Senketsu actually ended up completely just disappearing. But I guess that had to be a thing, because the life fibers in all the planet basically just don't exist anymore. Besides Ryuko, Ryuko is still basically more thunder. Ryuko basically is basically just life fiber itself. But she's not clothing, but she's also not human. She's somewhere in between, but she's more human than she is clothing. But at the end of the episode, or at the end, towards the end of the episode, the last episode, she says that she's neither clothing nor human, but at the same time she is clothing and human. So I don't really know. just I don't really know what else to say. Like the music is really good, the interactions with the characters are super good, the action can be over the top and look absolutely amazing, along with the animation. The animation of the characters is really good. The character art style is amazing. The comedy of the show is absolutely where it needs to be, and it's really damn good. At times where it wants to make you uncomfortable, it makes you really fucking uncomfortable. At least for me, it did, because there are times, multiple times, where Ragyo Kiryuin is groping her daughter Satsuki, and you just see her doing that, and you're very uncomfortable, and you feel weird about it. And she does this multiple fucking times with her fucking daughter Satsuki, and then ends up doing it to her other daughter Ryuko, because yeah, Ryuko and Satsuki are actually sisters, and her father Ishin Matoi is actually Satsuki's father in disguise. She's constantly groping her fucking daughters, and you feel so uncomfortable by seeing it, and then eventually Ragyo Kiryuin ends up forcefully putting on the Kamui Junkets on Ryuko, and then ends up completely changing her whole character and demeanor and personality, and just she basically just completely brainwashes her to have her do what she wants her to do. And then there's a moment in the fucking show, more thunder. There's a moment in the show, like after that happens in the same episode, where she ends up fucking making out with Nui Harime. Not making out, but like they do kiss. And I didn't like that. I didn't fucking like how that happened. And before anyone says anything, no, don't take that fucking wrong. It's not that I have a problem with lesbians or anything, or with people who are bi, who are into males and females. I don't have a problem with that. Whatever makes you happy. If you're a woman and you're into other women, or if you're a man who's into the other man, that's perfectly fine. Just be you and be happy with who you are as a person. Because in the end of the day, that's kind of what the whole show is all about, is, people are people, and the things that make those people special are what's great about humanity. And clothes are clothes, but some clothes actually have personality as well, with Zenkets, of course. But clothes are clothes, people are people, but the things that make those things special are what makes those things amazing. And if you're, like I said, a woman who's into other women, and if you're a man who's into other men, just be happy, be yourself. But I didn't fucking like how they had to really show us that Ryuko completely mind control fucking kisses Nui Harime. I fucking hated it. I had to go on a little bit of a tangent on Twitter, basically saying like, oh, I fucking hated this shit. Why did they do this? Like, why? That just made me really uncomfortable. But then I realized that was the point. That was the point. That's what they were trying to do. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to really, really, really make you hate Ragyo Kiryuin so that you can completely side with Satsuki. Because, like I said, the whole show, they depict Satsuki as the main bad guy of the show. At the end of the last episode, that's where Satsuki and Ryuko, have their final fight, and either one of them dies or they both die. But no, when afterwards, as they're trying to build this up with Ragyo doing this disgusting fucking shit with her daughter, right? They seriously want the viewer to hate her, and they make you hate her even more as this shit keeps piling on more and more and more, and it makes you want to side with Satsuki Kiryuin the whole fucking time as the episodes continue on towards the last episode. And by the time Ragyo Kiryuin basically fucking dies and kills herself, and Ryuko ends up falling back towards the planet, and with her her friends and her family, or people that she considers family, you feel so much more satisfied with how it ends. Like, Senketsu is gone and all the life fibers are gone, and yeah, we can't have the Goku uniforms anymore, and we don't have Senketsu anymore. But people have their own individuality back. People can have a mind of their own, and we don't have to worry about having, this big conglomerate, trying to take over the world, or destroy the planet, and just move on and do the same thing with a different planet. People can be people again, and that's just so much more enjoyable, because especially because Satsuki is completely accepting of Ryuko being her sister, because Ryuko was actually originally supposed to be dead, because like years, like when Satsuki was a little baby, right? Ragyo really wanted to have life fibers connect with one of her children. It didn't work with Satsuki, and it killed Ryuko as a baby. But Satsuki's father, before he was disguised as Ishin Matoi, he took the baby and connected her with the life fibers and brought her back to life. And so Satsuki isn't really like a human being anymore. She's more of life fibers than she is anything. She's technically clothing, you could say, because Senketsu is completely made out of life fibers. But Satsuki doesn't care, because she still sees her as her little sister, and she still cares for her deeply, and she welcomes her back home when Ryuko falls back into the atmosphere from space to the planet. And you just really like that, because now they can actually have a proper relationship without constantly fighting with each other anymore, because that's all they ever did when they were on screen. All they did was ever fight with each other and yell at each other. But now they can actually have a relationship as sisters, and you really like that, and you really want to see that. But you can't, because that's the final episode and the show just ends. And just there's so much amazing stuff about this show that I just enjoyed incredibly. I really have no words to really describe it besides more thunder. I really have no words to describe the show other than that it's just absolutely amazing, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end. For something like Bleach, I couldn't get into Bleach because I just couldn't stand the interactions between the characters. The interactions between the characters, they never seemed like they ever really cared about each other, and they always seemed like they just never wanted to be around one another. I just couldn't get with it, and I couldn't stand the main character. With Ryuko, I always was rooting for her. I always wanted her to find out what actually happened to her father. And I was invested into the characters and the story from beginning to end, and I never stopped watching. And it just was a satisfying end to the show, and I'm glad that it never got ruined by having another sequel series or a movie, even though maybe a movie would be kind of cool, or a sequel series would be kind of cool as well. But what could they already do to the show that already ended off on pretty much the best moment of where it can? And that's pretty much just the entirety of the show. I enjoyed it from beginning to end, like I said, and my overall thoughts is that animation is really goddamn good. I love the art style, I love the characters, I love the way that the characters interact with each other. The music can be really great, most of the time. I say most of the time because sometimes they don't ever really use music, and I feel like they use the same tracks over and over again. They never really use anything new, but the music is still really good, and I really like that. The action is over the top when it needs to be. The serious moments are serious when they need to be. The comedy is hilarious. When the show wants to make you uncomfortable, it seriously makes you feel uncomfortable. Just the show was absolutely amazing. I really liked watching it, but I don't know if I'll ever watch it for a second time. Because the people that I have asked if the show was good or not, they all have told me that it's been a long time since they've seen the show, which tells me that the show is good for a first time watch through, but you don't ever really rewatch it ever again, which is really sad, because I do like the characters and I like seeing it interact with each other, so that really does disappoint me. But at the end of the day, I got to see, really good character interactions, and that's more than I can ever say about Bleach, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would watch this again potentially in the near future, or maybe sometime down the line whenever I just want to rewatch Kill la Kill. And I originally had made fun of this as fan service the anime, and I still think that, because well, one of the final shots literally has every single character in the show ever naked. But it's still just a lot of fun to watch, and I didn't need to take it seriously. And I recommend that if people want to watch the show, you shouldn't take it seriously unless the show, is wanting you to actually take it seriously. Just be aware that most of the time, don't take it too seriously. It knows that, some shit that happens in the show is a little ridiculous, but just enjoy it for what it is and just have fun. So those are my final thoughts of the show for Kill la Kill. I really, 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 really enjoyed it, and I hope that other people really enjoy it as well when they do go and watch it, whenever they decide to watch it. Would I recommend this for someone who hasn't seen an anime at all before, or someone who wants to start getting into anime and has potentially seen one like Pokemon or Dragon Ball? No. I would recommend Kill la Kill after you've seen a couple of shonen anime and maybe even just a couple other slice of life anime, because or maybe even, you know, like ecchi anime for all I know. Just I wouldn't recommend this for someone who hasn't seen anime before as their first anime. Even though it's really good, there's a lot about the show and its characters and the way that it does things that could deteriorate you from watching anime whatsoever. I wouldn't recommend this for someone who wants to get into anime as their first anime, but watch it whenever you've watched a couple other anime and you're really thinking about wanting to watch something with really good character interactions. That's my thoughts. I really have nothing else down on top of the video. I kind of repeated myself a lot there at the end, and now I'm kind of just rambling right now. But those are just my thoughts. These are just my first impressions of the show after watching it for the first time, and I really goddamn enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts about the show are in the comments. I'm actually really curious for those who are actually currently watching it, have just finished it, or have watched it before in the past and have had time to really think about how much they really like the show, you know, after some time. I'm very curious. But that's pretty much it for me. I don't know when I'm going to get this video out. I kind of want to try to see if I can get it out later today, but it'll probably either come out tomorrow or Tuesday, depending if something happens tomorrow. I have no idea, but that's pretty much it for me for this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, and if you are new, subscribe for more videos just like this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.